Hey, what are you gonna do about this? I hurriedly ran towards the direction of the voice. There, I found a woman showing her anger and my brother, Tyler, with a troubled look on his face. Tyler was holding a mop, while the woman's suit around the shoulder wet and stained. Seeing this woman in a suit that seemed sophisticated and undoubtedly expensive, I felt a chill down my spine. Turns out, this woman was Jessica Johnson, the president's daughter. What happened? I told him that he stained my outfit with a mop as I was passing by behind him. Jessica's forcefulness had Tyler completely petrified. Instantly, I apologized her. Miss Jessica, I'm terribly sorry. This is my brother, Tyler Smith. He is a person with a hearing disability and must not have heard you. Smith, Tyler, Jessica said, then looked down. I'll pay for the laundry. As I was about to take out my wallet, a tear fell from Jessica's eyes as she looked up. Her tear made both Tyler and me panic. Tyler also tried desperately to say something. I can't let you pay for it. Saying that, she wiped her tears and ran off. And a few hours later, we were called into the president's office. My name is Kevin Smith. After graduating from college, I've been working at an IT company for 5 years now, and I'm 27 years old. I have a younger brother, 4 years my junior. His name is Tyler. Tyler has been working as a janitor at our company twice a week since April this year. Tyler, someone from HR called for you. Noticing Tyler didn't react to my voice at all, I tapped his shoulder. I whispered into his ear as he slowly turned around. The HR folks were looking for you. Said to come over when you're at a good stopping point. Thanks. Tyler set down the cleaning supplies he was holding and went downstairs. He seems more alive here than at home. I watched his back, feeling reassured. 5 years ago, during the summer of his senior year of high school, Tyler was involved in a car accident. He had broken legs, but made a full recovery after rehabilitation. Sadly, he lost hearing. Tyler can barely hear if you speak right next to his ear, but that's about it. Whether that's considered lucky to survive the accident or not varies by person, but our family was definitely shaken up. Why Tyler? If I could take his place, I would. Especially, our parents were deeply depressed. Trying to cheer up our parents, Tyler always acted cheerfully. Don't be so depressed. I'm not a thief. I can live with it. I'll be a bit of a hassle finding a job, but I'll do my best. With the support of his classmates and teachers, Tyler managed to graduate high school successfully. However, he didn't go on to college. Just give me some time to figure out what I can do, he said. And so, after graduating, he spent some time learning sign language and drawing, which he liked. He seemed to be struggling, but he never brought his concerns to the family. So, we just quietly watched him as he found his way. A year later, Tyler seemed to have found his path. I'm gonna be an illustrator. Some people like my drawings. It appears Tyler had been posting his drawings online. His artwork drew attention and he started receiving requests. Basically, I communicate via email, so my hearing loss won't be an issue, he said. Accepting his disability and finding a place where he could succeed made him very happy. Just give it your best shot. Just ask me if you need computer-related assistance. You know I work in IT. I'm pretty good at it, I told Tyler. Tyler gave me the biggest smile. Then, he started picking up odd jobs as an illustrator, creating ads and company logos. While he wasn't making enough to live on his own, he wasn't struggling living at home with our parents. He continued this lifestyle for a while, but one day, Tyler sent me an email. Bro, you think there's any job out there I could do? Got tired of drawing? No, I plan to keep at it as an illustrator. But I'm looking for something with a steady income. Tyler's friends all went to college after graduating high school. Tyler, working as an illustrator, and his college friends. Up until last year, his student friends admired Tyler for working independently, and he felt good about it too. But recently, when he met with friends who were in their first year of working, they talked about their first paycheck. Tyler didn't share his monthly income to me, but it seemed he found out his earnings were significantly lower than his freshly employed friends. Since illustration jobs are sporadic, his income varies, but on a good month, it's around $1,300. It can't be helped. Being self-employed is totally different. I've always admired you, Tyler, for doing what you love. It's clear Tyler struggles with his hearing loss, but I deliberately didn't mention his disability. If I'm only making this much after a few years, maybe this is the extent of my talent. I feel bad continuing to rely on our parents. Everyone's giving their first paycheck as a present to their parents. I want to earn enough to give our folks peace of mind and do something for them too. So, he was looking for a job that could provide a steady income in addition to his illustration work. I totally got where Tyler was coming from. And then it hit me. Actually, there's a janitorial position open at my company. I had just heard from a coworker that our company was hiring janitors within the disability employment scheme. It's for the disabled employment scheme, though. You okay with that? When I hesitated a bit, Tyler laughed. I've long accepted my disability. Plus, being in that scheme means people will be aware of my condition in advance, which makes things easier for me. Tyler's candid response reassured me. I immediately went to HR, and Tyler's employment was quickly arranged. Now, 6 months into Tyler working at our company, apart from his hearing, Tyler is just like any of us. His meticulousness has made his work highly appreciated. Also, since my coworkers are kind to Tyler, he's been enjoying his work lively. One day, as I was walking back from a meeting room through the hallway, I heard a woman's piercing scream. Hey, what are you gonna do about this? I quickly ran towards the source of the voice. There, I found a woman visibly angry and my brother, Tyler, with a troubled look. Tyler was holding a mop, while the woman's suit around the shoulder wet and stained. Seeing this woman in a suit that looked both elegant and undoubtedly expensive, my spine chilled. That woman was Jessica Johnson, the president's daughter. What happened? I told him that he stained my outfit with a mop as I was passing by behind him. Intimidated by Jessica's intensity, Tyler had completely frozen. It's so unlike the usually quiet Jessica to be this upset. I hurriedly apologized her. Miss Jessica, I'm terribly sorry. This is my brother, Tyler Smith. He is a person with a hearing disability and must not have heard you. Seeing me apologetic, Tyler also hurriedly apologized sincerely. Smith, Tyler. Yes, I'm Kevin Smith from the systems department. We will certainly cover the laundry costs. When did your brother become disabled? 5 years ago. And how long has he been working here? About half a year now. Did he do any other work before this? He's also working from home as an illustrator. Here, he works on a twice-a-week contract. I answered for Tyler, who seemed to struggle to keep up with Jessica's rapid questions. So, drawing is his main job, Jessica said, then looked down. He's really dedicated to his job here. I worried that she might doubt Tyler's commitment to his janitorial work since it wasn't his main profession. I felt compelled to defend Tyler's honor with all my might. Jessica, I really am sorry. I'll cover the laundry expenses. As I was about to take out my wallet, a tear fell from Jessica's eyes as she looked up. Her tears left both Tyler and me flustered. Tyler desperately tried to say something. I can't let you pay for it. After saying that, she wiped her tears and ran off. Bro, what did she say? Tyler, unable to catch the conversation, looked worried. I moved closer and whispered in his ear. She said she couldn't accept laundry cost. Also, she was concerned about how long you've been working here. Is she gonna report my mistake? Tyler looked worried. I couldn't say anything and just looked down. Actually, she's the president's daughter. What? Tyler was at a loss for words. I think she's still in college. Occasionally she comes here to see her father or for some reasons. She's courteous and greets everyone nicely. She's well regarded, so seeing her so emotional surprised me too. Hearing this, Tyler held his head. I'll cover the laundry costs. Promise. It's a mistake anyone could make, so don't worry about it. Just be more careful next time. Imagining how Jessica might react was making me nervous too, but I tried to cheer up a worried Tyler. I had another appointment, so I had to leave Tyler there. Shortly after, I received an inter-office email from the office of the president. It indicated that my brother and I were invited to the president's office at 2 p.m. I immediately assumed that it was about the earlier incident, and I couldn't help but tremble. Jessica must have told her father. Indeed, it was entirely Tyler's fault, but there was nothing intentional. I just hoped Tyler wouldn't lose his job, especially now that he's been gaining confidence working outside. Tyler, meticulously grooming himself every morning and heading to work eagerly. Tyler, happily communicating with my coworkers. Having avoided social interactions due to his hearing loss, he's grown so much in these past few months. I absolutely wanted to avoid anything that might make him lose his newfound confidence. Bro, I'm sorry. It's my fault you got dragged into this too. As I headed to the lobby where I was meeting Tyler, he was sitting there looking tense. It's okay. We're just gonna have a talk. I tried not to show my own anxiety and encouraged him as we headed to the president's office. Excuse us, Smith here. The person who came out was the president himself. Thank you for coming. Come in. Greeted with a kind smile from the president, both Tyler and I were taken aback. Nice to meet you, I'm Michael Johnson. Turning to Tyler, he greeted him slowly, using both sign language and his voice. Hi, nice to meet you. I'm Tyler Smith. Tyler was taken aback but managed to greet the president. You know sign language, Mr. President. I couldn't hide my surprise, and the president showed a slightly sad face. Well, just a little. I haven't used it for a while, so I've forgotten quite a bit. Saying this, he led us into the room. I wondered what he meant by not using it for a while. Following the president into the room, there stood Jessica. She was wearing different clothes from earlier. Jessica, about earlier. I'm sorry for my arrogant attitude. I panicked because my mother bought it for me. Jessica apologized before we could. Tyler, I'm really sorry for yelling at you all of a sudden. I'm embarrassed to have assumed that everyone in the company was a perfect fit. Jessica, like the president, turned to Tyler and conveyed her message with both sign language and voice. Jessica knows sign language too. I felt relieved, convinced that these two would understand Tyler. No, it was entirely my fault earlier. I'll be more careful from now on. Please give me another chance. Tyler sincerely apologized. Then Jessica took out a large framed picture from her bag. It's your artwork, isn't it, Tyler? When the frame was turned around, it depicted Jessica in her uniform and another woman, their faces close together, smiling amidst a myriad of colorful flowers. The gentle touch of the painting conveyed the happiness of the two. Seeing the painting, Tyler gasped in recognition. From that time, yes, 4 years ago, at Carolyn Creighton Park, I'm Jessica Johnson. After that day, my mother couldn't go outside anymore, but this painting brightened her hospital room, and she looked at it happily every day. Jessica's voice trembled with tears. Noticing my confusion, President Johnson explained in both sign language and voice. 7 years ago, my wife, Linda, was diagnosed with tongue cancer and had her entire tongue removed. The devastating news was a shock to both me and Jessica, but Linda was different. I have plenty of time now, so I learned sign language. I want to have lots of fun conversations with you all. Always cheerful, Linda saved both me and Jessica, allowing us to look forward. To understand my wife's sign language, Jessica and I desperately learned it too. Being so focused on learning sign language, we didn't have time to worry about the inevitable. I think that was my wife's intention all along. He shared. Following the president's gaze, there was a photo of the family of 3. Everything was peaceful until 5 years ago, when her cancer cells spread to other organs. From there, Linda's condition rapidly worsened, and she was confined to the hospital. Jessica continued in both sign language and voice. In spring, my mother had a few good days in a row, so we got permission to go outside provided that we stayed close to the hospital. Jessica took her mother, who loved flowers, to the park in her wheelchair for a walk. That's where we met Tyler, drawing. Jessica smiled warmly at Tyler. According to Jessica, Linda showed interest in Tyler, who was drawing flowers on a bench, and started a conversation with him using sign language. I thought for sure he would ignore us, a young man being approached like that, but to my surprise, Tyler responded in sign language. Tyler smiled shyly. Back then, I was pretty much in despair. Everyone else seemed to be happily going to college, facing a bright future. I wondered what was waiting for me with my hearing disability. I couldn't talk to anyone about it, felt uncomfortable at home, and just killed time alone in the park. So, when someone just came up and started talking to me in sign language with a smile, I was just really happy. I didn't know Tyler struggled so much, concealed all these thoughts, though always trying to be cheerful in front of his family. It broke my heart. Jessica continued to look at Tyler with a kind gaze. Tyler responding in sign language made my mother very happy. As we talked more, Tyler started drawing a picture of us. While they were walking in the park, Tyler quickly finished a drawing of the two. It was because their relationship seemed so beautiful. Tyler realized that Linda was in a much more serious condition than himself. But seeing Linda live her life to the fullest with happiness, and Jessica smiling happily beside her, Tyler felt saved. As we were leaving, Tyler gave us this drawing. Both my mother and I were moved. Every time we look at this painting, we can remember that happy time. Linda passed away 2 weeks later. Thanks to Tyler's painting, my mother was able to spend her time in the hospital room peacefully and happily. Jessica looked at the painting with a warm and nostalgic smile. By the way, how did you know my name? Tyler asked. When they met in the park, they had asked for his name, but Tyler was too shy to tell them. Jessica replied with an apologetic tone. Actually, I saw your name written on your bicycle when we were leaving. Ah, I see. Tyler laughed shyly. It was just a hobby, and I didn't have the courage to give my name. Back then, I lacked confidence in myself. I even wished to be someone else. But now, hearing Jessica's story, I've started to like myself a little more. Tyler looked at Jessica and smiled brightly. Were you wearing a suit earlier today to go somewhere? He remembered Jessica mentioning. Actually, I had a job interview. Did the interview go okay? Hoping it wasn't right before the incident, I waited nervously for Jessica's response. Jessica laughed. The interview didn't go well. It was my first choice publishing company, but they only asked about my father. President Johnson shrugged apologetically. Jessica loves to write and dreams of publishing her own book someday. That's why she aimed for a publishing company, but in today's interview, no one really listened to her. How long do you plan to work? A president's daughter doesn't belong here. I don't want to be targeted by her father, even though it's a different industry. No one truly listened to Jessica's aspirations. I came here to complain because I wasn't born a president's daughter by choice. And on the way to the president's office, it seems Tyler accidentally stained her with a mop. If Tyler hadn't stopped me with that mop, I think I would have said something terrible to my dad. Thanks to the mop, her anger towards her father dissipated, and knowing Tyler's identity revived precious memories with her mother, Linda. What a strange twist of fate. I believe my mom made it so that Tyler and I could meet, so I could turn what I love into my profession. Tyler and I exchanged puzzled glances, not fully grasping what Jessica meant. What do you mean? When asked, Jessica looked straight at Tyler. Tyler, would you like to work with me? Tyler was taken aback by Jessica's sudden proposal. You're still doing illustration work, right? Jessica asked. Tyler looked back at me. Yeah, I mentioned it earlier when she asked. Tyler turned back to Jessica and nodded shyly. Would you be interested in becoming a storybook author? I've already written a few stories for storybooks, but my drawings don't quite cut it. Jessica quickly took out her laptop and showed Tyler a work in progress, with the illustration parts left blank. Jessica wanted to produce a storybook for the adults' readers, which has more text and is designed to be finished in about 15 minutes, leaving the reader with a warm feeling. Didn't you love being read to by your parents before bed when you were little? I loved that time. It helped me end the day on a high note. Even as an adult, Jessica thought it would be wonderful to end the day lost in a storybook. Hearing Jessica's story, I felt warmed inside. Tyler, why not give it a try? I encouraged Tyler. Tyler was silent for a while, staring at Jessica's laptop screen, but then he looked up and said, Jessica, your writing is really beautiful. I'm not sure if my drawings will match your words, but I'd like to try. Hearing Tyler's response, Jessica's face lit up. Thank you so much. I look forward to working with you. They shook hands firmly. Watching them, I caught the president's eye and we both smiled knowingly. Tyler will be fine. My wife always said so. The president came up to me and whispered quietly. What did your wife say? I'll tell you about it another time. I was curious about what the president said, but it seemed he wasn't going to share more at the moment. Regaining my composure, I hoped that the storybook by the two of them would be successfully completed. After that, Tyler often went out for meetings with Jessica. Going to a meeting now. Yeah, it's more efficient to get feedback while drawing. It was already dark outside. I'll drive you there. And call me when you're coming back. I'll pick you up. The darkness was dangerous enough, but for Tyler, who was near death, it was even riskier. Seeing my worried look, Tyler smiled wryly but thanked me. In a car, Tyler shared how Jessica's writing moved him, how naturally images came to him from her words, and occasionally, Jessica would share trivial stories about her interactions with her father, the president. Working with Jessica, Tyler felt like he had discovered a new side of himself. I'll probably be late coming back, so I'll go home on my own. Tyler was considerate of me. It's okay. I've got a lot to do too. Seeing you work hard motivates me to do the same. Hearing my words, Tyler seemed genuinely happy. Thanks. I'll contact you later. Watching Tyler hop out of the car excitedly, I felt genuinely happy for him. Knowing the pain Tyler had hidden from his family, I wanted nothing more than for him to find happiness and was fully committed to supporting him. Of course, he continued to perform his duties as a janitor as before. His room's light often stayed on late into the night, and sometimes he'd stumble out of his room bleary-eyed in the morning, but our parents just watched him silently, offering their quiet support. 3 months later, their first book was completed. It starred Linda, Jessica's mother, as a protagonist. Linda, who remained as bright as the sun even after being diagnosed with cancer, making sure to laugh for every tear her family shed. She lived by the philosophy of speaking today's desires into existence, ensuring they come true. It was the story of Linda's approach to life. Jessica told me it was a fiction very close to nonfiction. In the story, Linda meets a young man after being given a month to live. Despite not having received a terminal diagnosis himself, the young man had a look of despair. When she spoke to him using sign language, he replied in kind. Their secret conversations, incomprehensible to those around them, were their own little world. Linda confided in the young man about her fear of death for the first time. I always want my loved ones to be smiling. That's what I make it a point to smile every day. But I'm scared of how sad they'll be when I'm gone. I won't be there to comfort them anymore. Is there a way to keep everyone happy? After some thought, the young man opened his sketchbook and drew fervently, lost in his art. Seeing his serious profile, Linda smiled. She thought, I want him to live a life that I won't. As the gentle sunlight invited drowsiness, the young man stopped his hand. He hesitated but then showed her the sketchbook. Wow, it's beautiful. There was Linda, smiling gently, surrounded by flowers, looking blissfully happy. Thank you for drawing me so beautifully. Seeing this, my family will surely smile too, and I'll feel their happiness from the sky. The young man smiled shyly, embarrassed. Linda stood in front of him. Thank you, truly. Saying so, Linda handed the young man a bookmark made from pressed cherry blossom petals. I'd be happy if you kept this in my stead. And every spring, please look up at the cherry trees for me. I'm sure you'll find how wonderful life is. The young man silently accepted the bookmark. Linda walked away with a bright smile. The young man watched her retreating figure for as long as he could. Since that day, the young man visited the place where he met Linda many times, but he never saw her again, because Linda had already set off for the sky. As seasons changed and spring arrived, the young man noticed the bookmark Linda had given him. Led by a gentle breeze, the young man, Tyler, made his way to where he had met Linda. It was a path lined with cherry trees, with petals fluttering in the air. Tyler looked up at the cherry trees and took a deep breath. Then, a father and daughter, presumably, approached from the opposite direction. The daughter was holding a frame carefully. Mom, look at the cherry blossoms dancing. We got to see them together as a family of 3 again this year. The daughter lifted the frame high. Tyler caught his breath. The portrait in the frame was unmistakably the one he had drawn of Linda. After pausing by the two, Tyler murmured as he watched their retreating figures, I'll live my life to the fullest. My face was a mess with tears after finishing reading the book. How is it? It's wonderful. I'm sure Linda would be very pleased. Jessica smiled brightly, nodding in agreement. Tyler's drawing and Jessica's writing complemented each other, resulting in a beautifully warm and touching storybook. What moved me the most was that the portrait of Linda in the book was the very one Tyler had actually gifted. This is a book only Tyler could have created. When I said this to him, he blushed and nodded. Months later, The book was successfully published and became a bit of a topic in town. Now, Jessica and Tyler, feeling the success of their work, have already started on their next project. Tyler, who used to feel inferior because of his disability, was no longer that person. He was living every day with genuine joy. One day, during lunch break, I happened to ask the president outside, "Mr. President, what was it that your wife had said?" I had been curious ever since Jessica invited Tyler to work on the book, and the president had said, "Tyler will be okay." My wife also said so. My wife mentioned that Jessica's writing and Tyler's drawings share the same warmth. Linda knew that the two of them would come together like this. Now, she must be watching from above, delighted. The president squinted up at the sky. I looked up too, following his gaze. From somewhere, a cherry blossom petal fluttered down.